What's up, Duke Nation? First, I'm hosting the Brotherhood podcast. I have a special guest here. I play for Duke, number one pick, NBA Rookie of the Year. I recently signed a new deal, NBA All Star. Here, Paolo Banchero.
Yes, sir.
Happy to have you here.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having me on.
Yes, sir. Big fan for sure. Watch a lot of your stuff. So, we're gonna start with some of your time at Duke, talking about that. So, you had such a huge impact here your freshman year, coming in, being a leader. Kind of talk about what was your mindset coming in as a freshman, but still being able to lead and have such a big role on the team.
Yeah. I think for me, just coming in, I think I came in really motivated because, the year before I got to Duke, they had a down year, I would say, and I think my goal and the whole team's goal coming in was to, kind of flip the script and get Duke back to where we were supposed to be, which was in championship contention. And I know that was like Coach K's big message to me, coming in was just him wanting to get back to the mountaintop. And so that was my mindset, doing whatever I could as a young freshman to, help lead the team and get us back to where, we wanted to be. And yeah, I mean, Coach K, I could say he helped me a lot because he pushed me to be a leader. I wasn't the most vocal coming in, but he kind of, forced it out of me. He kind of, was on me every day, about not only just leading by example, but leading with my voice and, being like a guy in the locker room who, teammates could look towards. So I give a lot of credit to him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Coach K is obviously one of the greatest coaches of all time. He coached my dad. Honestly, I'd say the greatest in college basketball.
For sure.
So kind of what was it like playing for someone like that?
Honestly, it was it was better than I even imagined, really. I mean, I tell people, like, he's by far the best coach I've ever had at any level, any sport. He just taught me so much, not only on the court, but really off the court, too, like leadership stuff, just how to be a man of honor, stand-up guy. Like, he was just big on all that, telling the truth and just being upfront about things. And so it taught me a lot. He taught me a lot of things that, I still apply to my daily life today, just being in the NBA, being a professional. I kind of look back and find a lot of lessons he taught me here, kind of showing themselves again when I, go on and advance in life and my career. So it was definitely a dream come true. It was definitely challenging, though. He definitely brought the best out of you. He wanted the best out of you every day. He didn't settle for anything less. So, he was always, going after you, trying to push you to another limit, have you go harder. He never let you get satisfied, I remember having like early success in my freshman year, like first month of the season, playing really, really well. And, him just staying on me in practice, telling me it wasn't enough yet. Like, I hadn't done anything. And so I just give him a ton of credit because he never let me get, comfortable or be satisfied with what I was doing, until we got to the end goal. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. One thing I wanted to ask you for sure is, you talked about early success. Obviously, at a place like Duke, there's always pressure on you to be the best team in the country, be the best player in the country. What are some things you did to kind of deal with stuff like that, the pressure?
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason you come to Duke, honestly, is, it's the biggest brand in college basketball, which comes with pressure. But I think, players like us, and the rest of the guys, you embrace that pressure. That's the only way that's the only way here at Duke is to embrace it and understand that, like, we're looked at in that regard for a reason. And I think handling pressure, I think it starts in the locker room with your teammates. Like, if that group of guys is locked in and together, if you guys are bonding and you guys have a tight-knit group, then the pressure and the outside noise, it won't get to you guys, as much as people may think, because as long as you guys are good and you guys are on the same page, then all the other stuff that happens on the outside or all the other stuff that people may say, it really doesn't matter. And so that's something I learned. There was a lot of outside noise throughout our season or throughout my season in our year. But I think, in the end, we did a good job of just staying close together, through the losses, through some of the tougher times. And, we stayed together and was able to accomplish a lot of our goals,
Yeah, that's something we talk about a lot too, staying connected. I think when you have a connected team, it's just a team that's already good, that's connected, they become so hard to beat. And so that's something that we're really focusing on, spending time together, team bonding, things like that. So obviously, it's Pro Devil weekend. It's a great weekend for Duke culture. I don't really know when it started. Probably way before me. But what kind of enticed you to come back for this weekend?
Man, well, I always try to come back once a year, usually after the season, sometime in the summertime, either around K Academy time or around this time, when school's about to start back up. And so I don't know if I ever seen this many guys back, honestly. Maybe for like coach's last game, but honestly, this is pretty impressive just seeing all the guys that's back
Yeah,
here, just around in the gym. Uh, I remember my freshman year, a couple guys came back, but it was like kind of spaced out. Like a couple guys would come back here and then a couple guys there. But no, it's great to see all these guys from different generations, different time periods, just here. Surrounding you guys. Obviously, new team, new group. You guys getting to see kind of what the Brotherhood's all about. Just different generations of it. And yeah, it's dope to be back though, man. I always love coming back here, seeing everybody. Getting to know some of the new guys too. It's always fun.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we got a bag for you for all the returners.
There you go.
Special little bag right here. So it's a
God.
gift to you, my guy.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, we got some tech fleeces here. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna open that up. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But sticking to the topic of coming back, is there anything that you miss about being here at Duke, being a student, an athlete?
I would say mainly just like the day to day life. Being in college. It's just such a different field than like before in high school, and then once you leave, it's like you never kind of get this feeling again. And so I guess like being here for 1 year, you kind of miss that feeling, or you kind of miss like just waking up in the dorm, coming to the gym every morning, like just spending your days here. Like you just get really comfortable with that. So then once you leave, it's kind of different. And then when you come back, you're just always like flooded with the memories of being back here and like being on campus, winning games, game days. Like this is the summertime, but like once the winter rolls around and gets a little colder outside and like basketball season's here, like that's when all the good memories really start happening, and you just enjoy it, man. It's just such a fun time, and I would say like the school itself is also a dope environment too.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I think something that they're big on here. Coach K was big on it. I know Coach Shire's the same way. Is like, they want to make sure that especially the freshmen, they feel a part of like the school, and like you guys are doing all this stuff with the other students and getting to know people. And so that's what I miss, is just like the interaction with like regular students, and them coming up to you and asking questions, and saying that they watched the game this weekend. Like I think that was some of the most fun memories. And now even just being professional, like you always run into somebody. That's the one thing like I learned leaving Duke was you're never really away from it, because you always run into somebody. Like I've in Seattle, I ran into somebody, multiple people, or Florida, like it's all over New York. It's like everywhere you go, playing with that Duke across your chest, there's so many eyes on you, and everybody, everyone is a Duke fan, and they all remember you. And so whenever they see you, wherever it's at, they're always going to let you know, like, oh, hey, I was Duke class of, 2004 or 96 or 2011. Like, they always come and say hello. So it's always dope kind of having that tag.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a special place. I've already met a lot of down to earth people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you never know where some of the guys who are in class with you are going to end up 10, 15 years down the line.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, another question I have is, how would you say the style of play in college is different from, like, the NBA?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot different, just the game in general. That was like something, you pick up on pretty quickly when you move on. I mean, college I think is a little slower, but it's a little more like a little more possession by possession, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the NBA, it's a lot more possessions, so
Yeah.
the ball just gets up and down the floor a lot quicker, quicker shots, all that stuff. So it makes the game just kind of more just at a certain pace. Like every NBA game kind of has a certain pace to it, just the way it's played. But college, I think, is like depending on the matchup. Like there's every team has such a different play style. You really have to like scout and get ready for every opponent, because they could run a whole different offense, or they can some college teams play through their bigs, other college teams they run motion and they just move it, and you got to guard them for 30 seconds before they get a shot up. And so I think you just run into a lot of different play styles and offenses, defenses in college. Um, Obviously, the spacing is a little different because no defensive three, so they can be in the paint. Um, but I mean, I think the ACC, I think, is probably the closest thing to the NBA if you're talking about college, just because I think it's a good mix of like pace, but also there's size, there's athleticism. Um, there's good guard play,
Yeah.
and so I think the ACC just as a conference, at least when I was here and kind of when I've watched, it just feels like the most similar to the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, now with the portal, it's kind of hard to say what teams are going to do what
Yeah,
this
exactly.
early on,
It's
but
a little different now.
yeah, I'm definitely super excited to get into that.
Yeah.
So obviously coming out of Duke, your number one pick. What would you say is like the toughest transition from college to the NBA?
I mean, I would say for me, I mean, it's more so off the court stuff, like just being on your own. Like, college, you wake up, you got weights, you got class, practice. Like your day is planned out pretty much
Yeah.
every day, and you kind of are busy. From the time you wake up to like 5 6 p.m. You're busy. Um, in the NBA, it's like you got one practice from 11 to 1 or whatever it is, 12 to 2, and then you got the whole day to just do whatever you want or to chill at home. And so it's like finding stuff to do in that free time is like I think it's every rookie kind of deals with it, where it's like, wow, like I really have the rest of the day to like what am I even about to do?
Yeah.
It's kind of like especially as a 19, 20-year-old coming in, it was like I'm not even having any hobbies yet. My only hobby is basketball right now. So, I was just playing video games or chilling at home. So I think that like all the games, obviously, it's a lot more basketball being played, a lot more traveling. So it's tough on mind and body at first. Kind of got to find a routine. Try to go to sleep at a decent hour. Like you got to kind of lock in on all that stuff because it's easy to fall behind. Like especially as a rookie or early young player, like if you fall behind schedule, like it's hard to get back on because the games never stop, the flights never stop. So you kind of have to like stay on top as best you can. Um, and so I think that was the hardest part was like dealing with all that, because college, there's a lot more. There's a lot more like support, like
Yeah.
resources, like that are here to help you and like help you succeed and be great. In the league, feel like it's a little more like you're on your own a little bit more. Everybody, guys got families and guys are grown up. So you're not really hanging out with guys too much. You're kind of just really like on your own and got to just find a routine, to stick to every day so that you can kind of stay on that schedule because it is a long season, bro. It's 82 games and then if you get to the playoffs, it's another season right there. So it's a lot, but I think once you figure it out, though, it kind of becomes like a lifestyle, and you kind of just get used to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, shit, that's the dream right there for sure. Get into the league, being able to experience things like that, the tough
Yeah.
parts with the good with the bad. So, I mean, I guess that's a great way to transition to the next question is, obviously in college during this time we're kind of figuring out how to gel with the team, learning everyone's play styles, starting to come together. But in the NBA, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like at this time, no one's really together as a team, kind of just working out,
Yep.
doing your own thing. So kind of like in this summertime part of the year, what does your daily routine look like?
Yeah. So I really been back home the whole summer, back home in Seattle, just around my family, working out. I became a morning person. I would say when I came to Duke, when I was at Duke, I wasn't a morning person. Uh, but last couple years, like I've made an effort to get up early every morning, get my work in, get it all done, before 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So I would say, I get up probably 6:45 on the court by 8 a.m. Work out for like an hour. Usually lift after for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, lift. Go back home, chill, eat, like recover, whatever that is, like maybe ice bath or a Normatec or something simple. Um, and then really after that, I have the rest of the day. Sometimes 2 or 3 days a week, I might go back and shoot, whether it's just like spot shots or free throws, something like that. But really, I just get my work done early as possible, and then just kind of have the rest of the day. I'll go see my family, go to my family's house, or chill with friends. But I think I just try to keep it simple, bro, best I can. Stay locked in. Um, I think one thing I realized, like when I was at Duke or like 18, 19, like I wanted to work out all day. Like I wanted to do 2 days, 3 days, like be in the gym as much as I could. And so I think now I'm kind of realizing like maybe dialing it back a little bit and like almost taking the approach of like less is more, like kind of preserving your body, keeping your body fresh is better than just going and burning out every single day. Doing 2, 3 workouts or doing a workout in the morning, then running later on in the day. Like, all that stuff was like, it makes you feel like you're really, really working. And like some guys, that is, the way to go. But I think I've learned like to keep your body healthy. Like I've just been like go super hard for in the morning for an hour, recover, and then 2, 3 days out the week go back and like shoot some like spot shots or something. But that's kind of how what I've stuck with now. It's just like keeping it simple, keeping the body fresh. Because like I said, like 82, it's a long season.
Yeah.
And, you got to carry a load. Just being one of the main players, you got a lot of load on you every night. So I think keeping your body fresh in the off season is like the biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that our guys here, Nick and Jose, our training room guys, got a great staff here. They're on me about a lot. Because in high school, I didn't really do much recovery, ice bath, number tech, anything like that. So that's what I'm trying to get used to now.
Yeah, I mean, the earlier the better. Like I wasn't doing none of that either. I mean, the first time I got an ice bath was here.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of learn all that stuff as you go, and then but when you get to the league, you learn like some more little habits or some more little ways of recovery that can kind of keep you fresh. That's what I say is like the earlier the better, the more the better, the more recovery you can do, stretching, icing, Normatex, massages, like whatever you can do to stay fresh. Try to get it done.
Yeah. So you touched on a little bit how long the season is, 82 games. Obviously a lot longer than college, but I think something that a lot of players struggle with is, one day they're super locked in, the next game they're not really that locked in. Kind of talk about how you're able to stay focused and locked in for a full season.
Yeah. I think that's like you just said. That's like one of the hardest things for every player is like finding the consistency over the long season, like just being consistent every night. And man, that was like one of my struggles rookie year too. Was like one game you come out, you have 25, 30, and you feel great. Then you have a game, the next night or the night after, and you got no energy or you just, no legs, whatever it is. And you're like, damn, like, how do I feel? Like, why do I feel so much different? And so I think for me, trying to be as consistent as possible and find that same energy every single game. And I think it comes to sleep, what you eat. Like I kind of just learned, or I took it from Russell Westbrook. He kind of gave me the advice one time where he was just like, he eats the same thing before every game. So it's like he knows going into the game, like, all right, I know what I ate. I know how much like energy it's giving me. So like I don't have to think about that. Like all I gotta think about is going out here and playing basketball. So I kind of stole that from him. Where like now I just eat the same thing. Last 2 seasons I just eat the same thing before every game, game days, eating the same meal, so that my energy is consistent. And then trying to sleep, stay hydrated. Like all that stuff matters. Like the difference between 5 to 6 hours and 7 to 8 hours is like really big difference. Or like even 8 to 9. Like if you can get that extra hour, 2 hours of sleep, like it'll carry you a long way. Just in terms of like your focus, how locked in you are in the game. Like that could be the difference between, you making a key turnover in the fourth quarter, or you getting that pass through for an assist. Like it could really just come down to little small stuff like that. So trying to just be super super detailed with some of that stuff, I think is where like guys, when you see like the Shays and the Jokic's, I think that's where they separate themselves from everyone else. It's like they're always consistent and they're always like bringing the same energy level. No matter if it's a back to back or a playoff game, like they have the same energy level.
Yeah, for sure. So what is your pregame meal?
Pre-game meal depends. If it's a night game, I'll eat it around like 3:30, and it's always like breaded chicken, like breaded chicken breast with
Sounds fire.
some pasta, and some broccoli or like zucchini, so like some vegetables, like protein, carb, vegetables, with like some water and electrolytes, stuff like that. And then like as the game gets, that's like the big meal. And then as the game gets closer, like I'll eat some fruit, maybe like a peanut butter and jelly if I need like a little more energy. But yeah, breaded chicken, pasta, vegetables.
So obviously going to year 4, you guys were a playoff team last year. I just picked up Desmond Bain and Tyus Jones. Kind of what's your mindset going into the season?
Man, just one first really excited about the pickups. Obviously Desmond Bain, hell of a player, and then Tyus, he me always admiring his game. I remember him being in Memphis and him like being like the best second unit player in the whole league at one point. And so really excited to have him, a veteran presence and just a true point guard. Um, and yeah, I mean we've been in the playoffs the last 2 years, 2 first round exits, and so I feel like we needed some more experience, some more guys that been deeper in the playoffs and know what it takes to get there. And so bringing those two in, it's gonna help us a lot. Us being a younger team, needing that experience, and I'm really excited, bro. Like I think it's like you got to go through stages in the league. You got to like lose. You got to lose a certain amount before you can win. And so I feel like losing first 2 years in the first round, it just makes you hungrier for what's next. And I think it's gonna be a big year 4.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so we're gonna wrap it up with some quick hitters. First, go-to move on the court.
First go-to move, probably a rock or jab, little jab rock, kind of play out of that. I like to kind of go to that to get my defender off balance and then kind of read him after that. But go to the rock or jab, get him off balance.
A hype song before a game.
Hype song right now. I got a lot of hype songs. I'd probably say like some, I don't know, like some, maybe something like Rob 49, something like that. Right now, that's like what's getting me hyped for sure.
Smooth, smooth. So for these next two, you can't say Orlando, but favorite NBA gym and loudest NBA gym.
Favorite NBA gym is probably, yeah, favorite is probably, it's probably the Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden. And then the loudest, it's between Boston and Cleveland. Boston and Cleveland, both. That's the last 2 playoff series, and I would say their fan bases get extremely loud, especially Cleveland. Like I don't know what it is about their arena, but they get super loud in there. And then Boston, obviously, they got some great fans, and they're always loud.
Playoffs is definitely crazy.
Yeah,
So would you rather have a big block or a big dunk?
big dunk for sure. Get the crowd going.
Yeah. What's your all-time favorite NBA basket that you've had?
All time favorite NBA basket. I ain't gonna lie, probably my first game against the Pistons. I had a pretty good game. It was my first NBA game, and I dunked over Corey Joseph, who was actually my teammate this past year. And it was an and one. He like set up for a charge, and I just went up, dunked on him, got the and one, and that was just like I really couldn't believe that I did it. Not that I couldn't believe I dunked it, but just the moment of like being in the NBA, your first game, and like just getting that perfect setup for the dunk. Like it was pretty dope. Like I remember kind of like dunking it, and then getting to the free throw line, and being like, damn, like I just did that. So
It's fire.
yeah, probably that dunk.
And then I think I know the answer for this one, but what would you say is your favorite NBA game ever that you've played?
Favorite NBA game so far? I mean, scoring 50. Scoring 50 was dope just because I had never scored 50 in high school or college. And so it was like scoring that many points in front of the home crowd. And then we won. That was a dope feeling. But, yeah, I mean, game 6 against Cleveland to force a game 7, that was a fun game too. Just, forcing a game 7 in front of our home crowd. That was a great atmosphere. But the 50-point game probably stands out the most for now.
Yeah. So that's a wrap, fellas. Thank you for Paolo for showing up today. One of the best young stars in the NBA right now. Appreciate you for coming out.
My God, thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Dope. It's the next young star right here.